What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. All right. I just thought it would be, I don't know what is going on. And I try to do videos and evaluate situations that are just real life situations. Personally, I don't care about any political stance whatsoever. And I think that, at some point we all are going to have to realize that these politicians do not pay our bills and that we should not be putting any president or politician on a pedestal where they don't belong. Because when issues come up, it's almost difficult for people to just address the issue at hand because they're so busy worried about whether or not you're a Republican or a Democrat. And there's just some things at the end of the day that need to be discussed, regardless of what you vote as or any of that. And I've always said, for me personally, when you go before God on Judgment Day, you will stand alone. And God will not be asking you if you voted as a Republican or a Democrat. That is not a question that God will be asking on Judgment Day. Highly irrelevant. It has nothing to do with your intentions or what lies within your heart. And there are just, like I said, certain issues that just need to be addressed without the whole mindset of this being a Democrat versus a Republican ordeal. It comes down to it just being a people ordeal. So, a few days ago, Hunter Biden, I guess him and the mother of his daughter, a 4-year-old daughter that he has, decided that it was okay for him to give his daughter paintings as, I guess, some form of back pay on child support. What? This got to be the craziest stuff I've ever heard. You're giving paintings to actually suffice for child support payments. What the hell this baby is going to do with your paintings, Hunter? What is this child going to do with your painting? How is this mother supposed to purchase clothes, shoes, and food, or to pay for health insurance, or she probably don't have to pay health insurance, but to pay for maybe educational expenses? Let's say the baby's in private school or something, or private daycare. How are those paintings supposed to cover expenses to take care of this child? Hopefully the mama took them paintings and sold that crap and got the money for it. The end. Because it's ridiculous to even comprehend him trying to cover child support by way of paintings, but he has yet to actually behold this child in the physical form, meaning he has yet to meet this baby. No one is even acknowledging the child. And yet somehow paintings are supposed to be sufficient to cover child support. Okay, so let's watch a dumb video. Why are you giving? Did the mother ask for the paintings? Did she ask? This child is 4 years old. Did the mother ask you to give her some paintings? I don't even understand why is that sufficient? Any other situation with any other father out here on child support, or not even just father, because you got some mothers out here that's ordered to pay child support too. Any situation where any parent is ordered to pay child support, I know in the state of Georgia that they can't even keep track of child support payments when it's not in the form of money. They don't really, especially when it comes to DCSS, they don't really advise child support payments to come in any other form except financial, because they can hold the other parent, whoever is ordered to pay the child support, they can hold them accountable if they go into arrears. Child support is not something that you pay one time. It is something that you're ordered to pay every month or every 2 weeks based on your, your payroll cycle. Like if you get paid semi-monthly, or if you get paid every 2 weeks or once a month, it's based on your income, the frequency of your income and your pay. So it's not something that you just settle once in court and then that's it. No, child support is something that is ongoing until the child is either 18 or graduates from high school, or if they go to college, I think it's like 20, 22 or 21, something like that. But even then, if this is your child, you shouldn't have a problem taking care of this kid anyway. Financially speaking, what is the deal? Does he have a job? Is it the job issue? It must be an issue with a job. You are the son of the President of the United States, Hunter Biden. Is it what are you able to do as far as work experience? Because it's not even a matter of if he can get a job. It's a matter of what job do you want? If my father was the President of the United States, I would be working for the CDC, making 6 figures with great benefits to take care of my kids, and wouldn't even try to care about their father paying child support, because it's a headache. It really is. It really is a headache. And this is coming from a single parent who is unemployed, looking for a job like ASAP, that wants to take care of my kids, and wish I made 6 figures to be able to have sufficient income to raise my 2 boys financially. But that's not the reality of the situation. When you have a child, you have to understand that it does cost money to raise these kids. It should not be all about money either when it comes to parenting, because this child is still going to grow. I'm looking at these videos and I'm annoyed at what I'm reading. This baby is 4 years old. You can't shield her from the internet forever. So when this baby gets old enough to know what's going on and to understand this situation, and she learns about who her dad really is, how do you all think she's supposed to feel and respond, and how she's supposed to respond? How do you think this is going to have a mental and emotional toll on this child when she goes on the internet and sees all of these videos, all of these reportings, all of these photos, pictures, child support requests where he trying to reduce child support, his dumb book where he tried to deny her to begin with, him sitting here saying basically this child was conceived out of the throes of a drug habit. This is ridiculous. How do you think that is going to affect her at the end of the day? Because as parents, our job is to take care of our children. We're held accountable for our kids. There is no expectation of perfection. Let me say that again. There is no expectation of perfection. No parent is perfect, because there's no perfect person. It does not matter at this point how she was conceived or under what binge or high you were on when she was conceived. The only thing that matters at this point moving forward is what you decide to do when it comes to raising this baby. Can someone please explain to me why the hell he has not even met this child? What is the deal with not even mentioning her name or even acknowledging her? Why is this 4-year-old so scary to where he can't even acknowledge her or his father? Your dad's the President of the United States. Why is no one acknowledging this child? How do you all think that this is going to go over when she gets old enough to see all those videos, to learn that her father was the son of the president of the United States and no one acknowledged her. This is why some of these kids grow up with these mental and emotional issues like this, because of this type of parenting, because of this type of nonsense. Each day that you live, Hunter Biden, and breathe God's air and walk this earth is another opportunity for you to make this right. Period. You're the only one that still have. I wouldn't even care about the issue of you procreate with someone that was a stripper, exotic dancer, whatever. You're not the only man on earth that has made a baby with somebody that was a stripper dancer, exotic dancer. There's some men out there that got kids with prostitutes. Who cares? You're not the only man on earth that has a child with someone that was a stripper or a dancer. There are people out here who are doctors and lawyers and they still are not great parents. That should not be a determining factor as to the fitness of you being a good father or mother. You will have to make some life decisions because having a child is a life-altering decision. But at the end of the day, he's not the only one that has a baby by somebody that was a stripper at once upon a time. Why should that be held against him? Because, like I said, this child is still going to see all these videos, all these news reportings, all these media outlets reporting on this issue, constantly calling her mother stripping, all this other stuff, when at the end of the day, regardless of how they made this baby, under what circumstances this child was conceived, or regardless of what her mother used to do as an occupation, whether it's distasteful or not, is irrelevant. Because it still does not put food on the table. If the mother got a different job, she went to school or something like that, great. But keep in mind, you have moms that have medical degrees and law degrees and master degrees, and they spend no time with their kids. She has full custody. She hasn't lost custody of this child. So obviously her being a stripper at this point in time in life is still irrelevant. And this baby has to sit here and at some point be exposed to all of this. And to add insult to injury, he has yet to meet her. He has yet to acknowledge her. His father, his family members in the White House has yet to acknowledge her. And no one is thinking about the mental and emotional well-being of this child. No one. Girl, to the baby mama, please do not even keep that going with taking paintings as child support, because I don't want that to become a precedent. Men don't need to be, no parent need to be walking around here talking about, I'm not going to give you money, but what I am going to give you is a stick figure made out of popsicle sticks. Has the currency for the United States of America changed from dollars to paintings? Is that a currency now? Oh my God. I wanted my rent due today. If I called the property management company and say, hey guys, I want you all to know I don't have the current currency in the U.S. is dollars still. Unless I missed something. Did I miss something? Has the legislative branch of government changed the currency in the U.S.? Maybe I should call my property management company and say, I made a 3D model of a home with two kids and a dog out of popsicle sticks, and I taped it to a shoebox. Is that good enough? I got that Van Gogh over there. That's a knockoff, but whatever. Can I use that to pay my light bill? Is it a thing to just be able to get like a couple pages out of a coloring book? Now, hold on, I'm gonna sharpen my color pencils. I can take that to the grocery store and buy food. Oh God. Oh, will that work? Georgia Power, is it okay if I send you all a whole coloring book that me and my kids completed? Will that suffice in exchange for payment for my light bill? Goodness gracious. That painting is not going to pay bills. It's not going to buy this baby clothes and shoes. It's not going to help save up money for her education if she goes to college. Any educational expenses she may have now. You know, I would think if you get $20,000 a month in child support, you probably have some sort of a private tutor or, you know, some sort of elite daycare center she's attending or some sort of private school. You know, the worst part is that, like I said, he has not met her. He has not acknowledged her. No one has on his side of the family. And then there's an obvious difference in how he's raising her and taking care of her versus his other kids. And it shouldn't be. You're either going to be a good parent to all your kids equally, or you're just going to be a deadbeat at the end of the day. Because if you're a deadbeat to one, you're a deadbeat to all of them. Because this baby could be any other child. Because I don't see what's so scary about this 4-year-old as to why they are treating her like some boogeyman in the closet. Open the closet door and meet this baby. Spend time with her and do right. Because that is what you're going to be asked about on Judgment Day. That's what you're going to be held accountable for doing. And it's just the right thing to do, morally speaking. This isn't a matter of a politics issue. This is a matter of what is this 4-year-old little girl going to grow up and be exposed to? How is she going to feel when she finds out that her grandfather was once upon a time the president of the United States of America and no one mentioned her name? She's going to be like, why is my daddy not talking about me? Why does he not love me? Did I do something wrong? You can't expect the kid to naturally wonder those things. Especially if she goes on the internet and discovers YouTube and then sees all these videos where either her mother is still being called some stripper of some sort, and then the father is just not even acknowledging her existence. There is a way to make this better that is so simple to do. Acknowledge her, meet this baby. Here's what you can do. You can start off with supervised visitations. This is not uncommon. It's typically common when you have babies that are like toddler, newborn infant toddler age. And then, of course, situations like this where it's just estranged and the child doesn't know you at all and they need to build a rapport with you. Sometimes they'll have this kind of like a 6 to 12 month program thing or, gradual increase with visitation. So you start out with supervised visitation and then over time you build a rapport with the child and then gets to a point where, you know, the mother's comfortable, the child is comfortable with being with you without that supervised, third party person. So y'all can start with that. I mean, if it's a matter of him not having money, he can get a job. Get a job where you at least making enough money to cover the child support bill. Because that's a monthly thing. That's not something you just do once with 2 paintings. What the painting's gonna do anyway? This is ridiculous. It gets dumber and dumber the more I read about this. What is the painting supposed to do for this child directly? No other court would permit any other parent to use paintings to cover child support. Why is he the exception? I would be insulted and offended at that. I gave birth to your child and you trying to pay me with paintings. I can't use nowhere else on earth because that's not a currency. This is the craziest thing ever. And then on top of that, you're going out your way to try to lower child support when at the end of the day, you're the son of the president of the United States right now. How are you broke? What's going on? Oh, I can't believe this. I'm not even saying that any of this should be be held against him as far as his drug addiction and all of that. That's, but when you're making a point to try to say that this child only exists because of a drug habit, that's problematic, Hunter Biden. Let me tell you something. That is very problematic. And I was just as irate when that fiasco with Dwayne Wade, when he had his kid by that chick in Florida, the lady in Florida, I don't know her name, but when he had his son, while he was engaged to Gabrielle Union, and he had a son by a whole nother woman he had a whole relationship with, and then they tried to call this child a break baby. I was equally irate with that nonsense. This kid has got to grow up one day, and he's going to come across all your videos and your interviews and between you and your now wife, at the time that was your fiance, calling him a break baby. He's going to be like, what the heck is a break baby? Daddy, can you explain that to me? What does a break baby mean? What are you prepared to say? Just like with this little girl with Hunter Biden, what are you prepared to tell this child when she does ask you or confront you about why you never even acknowledge her and you're the son of the president? What are you prepared to say? When she's reading all these interviews and your dumb book where you literally sat there trying to deny her, what are you prepared to tell this baby? When she says, why are you sitting here acting like I don't exist? Why did you ignore me? Why did you neglect me? Why didn't you want to meet me and be in my life? Most kids ask those questions to estranged parents. Like I said, get over yourself. Being a parent means that you have to put the child first. It's no expectation of you being a perfect person because there's no perfect people. But at the very least, if you mess up and make a mistake in some stuff, try to correct it. Don't let time continue to pass by. She's 4 years old. You had never even met her. I hope this child grows up and discovers like the cure for cancer, AIDS or something. Just does something so phenomenal to where he feels like utter crap at the end of the day. And then when he tries to be a part of her life, she tells him to kick rocks barefoot. And it's just so epic. Because you are missing out on being a part of a whole nother person's life that you are the father of. Based on DNA, congratulations, is a girl. And you decided in your mind that you're not going to meet her or say her name. You should be losing sleep at night. I don't even know how you sleeping peacefully. This has got to be so traumatizing. At some point, it's really going to boomerang and backfire because there's no explanation for this. There's no explanation for this. If I was Jill Biden, I'm going to tell you something right now. This is mother to mother. I would tell your son, your stepson, son, whatever you all, however close your relationship is, I would tell him flat out, let me tell you something. Mama wants you to know that I love you and I care about you very much, but here's how this gonna go. Happy wife, happy life. I've told your father, you will not come back into this darn White House unless you have that child with you. We do not deny our children. There's no reason to do this. And you need to meet this child and spend time with her. And you can't do that. Don't bring your behind back to this White House until you have accomplished that goal. I want to meet my granddaughter, the end. And then you hang up and sleep peacefully. That's how you handle that. You go off on him about it because right is right and wrong is wrong. And then you hang up the phone and sleep peacefully. Do not bring your behind back into this White House, Hunter Biden, until this child is with you. All your kids. Because this is just ridiculous. And then you have the audacity to pay child support with pictures. Huh. I got some extra crayons and some paint, some canvases. Me and my children should probably start racking up some paintings to cover the down payment on the house. I mean, while we at it. It's got to be the biggest insult to mankind for you to sit here to try to pay child support with some paintings. Daddy just wants you to know I tried my best. I took care of you. That Picasso over there is something I came up with. Oh, God. How much is these paintings even worth? Like, just because he said it, they might be worth thousands of dollars or something like that, doesn't mean that they really are. And they might only be valuable temporarily while his father is the president. I can only imagine the value of those paintings going downhill, if there was another president in the White House. I mean, honestly, were they valuable before he became the president? I have so many questions about the valuation and the appraisals that were done on these paintings. Because at the end of the day, anybody can paint something authentic. That doesn't mean that it should be used to suffice for child support payments. This is a horrible precedent. Because you're going to have a whole lot of mothers and fathers out there that where the other parent is ordered to pay child support, having to take them to court saying, I'm going to need you not to send me 3 handwritten letters to try to use as child support payments. We're not doing that. That's not going to work here. Yeah, you setting a bad example with that. That's horrible. That judge should have laughed and said, no, sir, come again. Write a check. You can pay with a money order, check, cash, a gold bar, something that represents currency. Because that's not it. Jesus. Oh, this is the same frustration. Like I said, it's the same frustration I had hearing Dwayne Wade. You're an NBA player. Y'all forget that you guys are just thrust into the spotlight. And because of your status, your whole life is under a microscope. It is what it is. That's the price you pay for celebrities. That's why I try to be as, direct and honest as possible, because I'm not perfect. I've made some, decisions in my life that, I wish I could undo. But having my kids are not 2 of those decisions. They are here. I love my children. I'm going to be honest with you all. I would literally reshift the gravitational pull of this planet for my children. And that's pretty much that. Take that how you want. But if something happened to my kids, the North Pole will be in Miami, Florida. I'm finna mess this whole planet up. And I think every parent should feel that way about their child. That's how much love we should have for our kids. It's unconditional, and you willing to go to the ends of the earth. I will support my kids when they're right, but I will not support them if they're wrong. And your father and your mother, the first lady, should not be supporting you when you're wrong. You are wrong. You're just wrong. Ain't no right in this at all. Stop fighting so hard trying to, deliberately mistreat this baby like this, when it would just be more respectable of you to just simply say, I want to meet my daughter. We got to find a meeting spot at the end of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And even if her mother has to come along and we meet at an ice cream shop or some restaurant or a deli, or your father and your mother decide to throw a whole luncheon at the White House lawn, I'm okay with any of those options. Whatever it takes for you to become a part of her life, that's what you need to be doing. Not breaking your neck to try to reduce child support and then offering up paintings as a form of payment. You going all the way around the world and back again, deliberately showing that you're not interested in this baby, and it's just sad and pathetic, and you have no idea how much of an effect that this is going to have on her as she gets older and becomes more aware of what's happening. It's ridiculous. I don't think it's right that her mother is continued to be cast in this limelight like this with her being a stripper, because at the end of the day, it affects the child. And if we really care about these kids, let's not care about the child when it's regarding a pregnancy, but then when the child is born, we sit here and not care about how anything regarding all of these videos and reportings, all of a sudden we don't care how this child is affected mentally, emotionally, or even psychologically. No, we if we're going to care about our children, we need to care about them from start to finish. Period. We should also care about them doing the right thing. Hunter Biden was not robbed of a father in his life. He grew up with a father in his life. your daddy was in your life. Your daddy was also in the spotlight for many, many decades, whether it's as a senator or vice president or the president. But you still had your father in your life. Why are you robbing this baby of a father in her life? Why are you doing that? Jill Biden, I'm going to tell you, First Lady, please understand when I say this. You once upon a time was some man's daughter too. Mother to mother. You have to put yourself not only in this little girl's shoes, because once upon a time you were 4 years old and you had, I think you had your father in your life. But you also have to think about her mother. Would you really want your children's father to do this to your kid? Happy wife, happy life. I have a feeling that if Jill Biden was to say something to her husband and her son, that they will pay very close attention to that. Because mother to mother, this deep down, none of this is right or okay at all. None of it. And I have a feeling that if you would point this out and make sure that you at least express your disdain towards him neglecting your granddaughter, that one of them is going to listen to you. Or else nobody should be getting any sleep in that White House. I'll tell you that right now. Because the whole house feel the effect of when the mama's mad. Happy wife, happy life. Is that still a thing? That whole household should be feeling the effect of you being upset. Child. You the lady of the house. I mean, you first lady. Everybody should know if you feel some type of way about something. And this is certainly justifiable to be disappointed and upset about, because you would never want your daughter to ever feel anything that this little girl could be feeling. Now, I'm going to say this. I don't know if her mother is protecting her, from all of this, the media around this. And hopefully she is. But at some point, you're not going to be able to be with your child every second of the day. And you're not going to be able to shield her from the internet forever. She's going to get exposed to some of this at some point. And that is where you all come in, where you can make this better. You can change this whole narrative around if you wanted to. I will give Dwayne Wade credit. He does see his son. Even though he tried to deny the baby as well when the girl was pregnant with him and tried to call him a break baby. At some point, you still going to have to answer to that, because you can't get rid of all the videos and all the news reportings of where you and your wife called this child a break baby. It is so dumb. You have no idea how that could cause some sort of damaging effect to this child. That boy is not a break baby. Stop saying that. He's your son, the end. How he was conceived, children don't pick their parents. How he was conceived is beyond his control. Just like with this little girl. However you conceived her was beyond her control. Why are you making her pay the price for that? Get over yourself. So what? Like I said, there are old songs out here that says I'm in love with a stripper. That's still a song. Somebody made a song that says I'm in love with a stripper. You're not the only man to have a baby with a stripper. Get over it. Meet this child and spend time with her. Take her to the ice cream shop. Isn't there an ice cream shop down the street from the White House? Y'all set up a meeting with this lady and her child and this little girl. And y'all meet her down at you take a couple of your security detail with you that our tax dollars paying for. And go down there to that deli. Wherever your father took that picture where he was eating all that ice cream. And you meet the mama and your little girl there. And y'all sit down. And she can sit down at another table while you and your daughter sit at a table and you talk to your daughter. Ask her about school. How's pre-K treating you? You meeting any friends? How's reading going? Math? What's your favorite subject? Talk to her and get to know her. And buy her the ice cream she wants. Feed her a meal and sit down and spend some time with her. That is the least you can do. Acknowledge her. Hiding her is irrelevant. It's so silly to do because everybody knows she's here. Move past that and treat this child better than this. This is a 4-year-old little girl. She has done nothing wrong to you. This child she's not a bad person. This is not her fault in the least bit. Stop making her pay the price for it by showing this huge preferential treatment between her and your other kids. I would still like to see more Dwayne Wade's other son in photos and all this other stuff and on covers of magazines. I understand if his mother probably wouldn't want him to be too closely out there, but you got to explain these things that you're saying and doing in videos that become a permanent part of history. And being the son of the president is a permanent part of this history that at some point this little girl is going to find out about. I said, let me tell you what really irritates me even the more. So the fact that you have the financial means to pay the child support, and even if you don't have 20 grand a month coming in, you can get a job where you get that type of income, and it wouldn't even be a problem for you. You don't even have to have nepotism. Y'all can just, what is your skill set other than art? What can you do right now where you can get a job with some experience and education, where someone will pay you for that, where you can earn at least $20,000 a month and pay the dang on child support on time every month in U.S. currency, dollars? Whatever you can do with that, then you make good of that. Like I said, I honestly wish I was in a position to where my parent is a president and I need a job. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll help you out, get you a reference somewhere. Let's not pretend like nepotism has not happened. I'd rather him get a job and see him working than to see all this going on. So, not that I condone nepotism, but it is what it is. If you got to have a letter of reference or whatever from your parents to help you get a job or something, doing something where you can cover this child support payment, I'd rather see that happen, be honest with you. Because being a deadbeat dad is not something we should be glorifying or, turning a blind eye to. I don't care who it is. It doesn't make any sense. The same thing for Nick Cannon, because I did a video about him too. You getting on my nerve, Nick Cannon. You got 12 kids, and you spreading your seed all over the country. And then you have multiple babies with the same women. And some of them are just dumb enough to keep procreating with you. At some point, you're going to have to realize that all of your kids are not going to be happy with not seeing you on a more consistent basis. How do you plan on being there for them in the physical sense? And I mean seeing them in person. Not raising a child via a Zoom call or video chat. But I'm talking about being there for this child in the flesh, going to recitals and ballets and basketball, football games and track meets, PTA meetings, parent-teacher conferences, remembering their birthdays, graduations, knowing the doctors that delivered all these kids you got. Why should people be okay with you procreating recklessly without a thought or care of how in the world are you going to see these kids in the physical sense more often and raise them all fairly and equally? These kids are going to see all you 3 celebrity dads, Dwayne Wade and Hunter Biden and Nick Cannon. They're going to see you all at some point in videos and on TV and movies and shows and all this other stuff and interviews. Because you're celebrities, you're in the spotlight. You know that your life is under a microscope. It's not about being judgmental. It's about you stop being selfish and put these kids first and their needs before your own. Because that's what parents do. It's not about perfection, but it's about doing the right thing and doing what's best in the best interest of the children. And it is in the best interest of these kids that they see you in the physical sense more than 2 or 3 times a year, only when you're at the house trying to procreate with their mama. And these darn chicken head girls need to stop letting Nick Cannon knock them up. Not caring about how this is going to have an effect on them later on down the line when they realize, why my daddy doing these videos with my half-sister and brother that he had with Mariah Carey, but he not doing that same stuff with me? You really think that these kids are not going to grow up and a couple of them are not going to be resentful of this whole situation? At some point, just because you can pay a bill, i.e. child support, does not mean that that makes you a good parent. It doesn't. It just shows that you have the ability to pay a bill. Because child support is a bill. This is a civil matter. When you go into family court and all this other stuff for child support, that's a civil issue. That's a monthly expense. That doesn't mean that you're a good parent because you're paying a bill. Should you be paying financially to help raise a kid? Yes, you should. Because you cannot go to the grocery store and buy food with thoughts and prayers and fears and tears. I mean, no matter how hard we really want to do that. I wish I could go to the grocery store and get $500 worth of groceries or buy my kids' school uniforms. And then in exchange for those uniforms that are expensive as hell, I give the cashier 2 bags of salty tears. It's like, is this enough? Because I can keep crying. How many more tears do you all need for me to cover my children's uniforms and clothes and shoes? I mean, seriously. Let's be realistic about this. So yes, you're going to need money to take care of these kids, but you also need to be there for them because that is in the best interest of the kids. There's no reason why either of these 3 men and other men like them should ever rob their children of the opportunity to have a steady presence from their father in their life. There's no reason to rob this little girl of a stable father and mother. Y'all don't have to be together to be good parents. Just co-parent. Bottom line. Same thing with you, Nick Cannon. There's no reason why you should keep making all these kids knowing that you can't really be there for them in the physical sense, in person all the time. If you can only count on one hand how many times you expect to see your kids in a whole year, that's a problem. And it shouldn't just be for that Christmas photo and Thanksgiving. It should be, I'm here for doctor's appointments. I went to a PTA meeting today. I'm doing TikTok videos with all my kids in person. Because those kids are going to start asking some questions that you're not going to want to answer. Because you think that making sure that they have everything they need financially is all you got to do. That's not enough for these kids nowadays. That's not even fair to them. And you grew up with a father as well. Nick Cannon had his dad in his life. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, you did. You had a dad in your life. So why would you rob your kids of having a father in their lives, being there for first days of schools, first steps, first words? Most of that stuff you're going to find out in a phone call or a video chat, but not in person. It's ridiculous. Some of these kids were born around the same time frame. Can you imagine what high school graduation is going to be like for him? He's not going to be able to make them all. There's some graduations and birthdays you're going to be missing. Why? Why should that be okay? It's ridiculous. Now, unless Nick Cannon pulling one of these stunts where he's about to be like the black version of Sister Wives, maybe that's about to be a thing. I don't know. He's working on a new show with that. He got 3, 4 baby mamas. Let's not include his ex-wife in this because he sees those kids more regularly. Hell, he was there for them from day one. Doctor's appointments, births, all that for his twins because he was married to their mother. But there are a lot of kids out here you keep making where you probably not even able to catch all the births. Unless all these girls move to one area and y'all about to have some sort of communal property or whatever, you buy enough land where you can have like a master house and then you got the other houses on that same property for the mothers. Maybe you about to do something like that. Or all y'all about to just come into one house together so you can still see your kids every day. equally. I don't know. But I don't understand why you think that these kids would never ever be affected by you just procreating like you've lost your damn mind. And you know you can't go see these kids on a regular basis. I don't know why you think that would be okay with these children after so many years. And the only times they probably see you, half of them anyway, is when you knocking up their mama again to make another baby. It doesn't make sense. It's selfish of you. You're not thinking about these children because you're not going to be physically able to see them all like this. And that, to me, is robbing them of the relationship that they all deserve with their fathers. Child boo. As much as I love my kids, I still got to share them with their daddy. Because they need both parents. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, at some point you get over it. I would love for my kids to be home with me every day, all day. But they have to see their father. They have to. And this comes from somebody that is looking for a job desperately and trying to hurry up and get back to work to take care of my kids, and having to sit here and go through family court for custody and somehow child support. I mean, it's still a thing. It's exhausting. It's a headache. But you have a lot of parents out there that are really trying to do the best they can, and they want to be good parents. Not perfect, but good parents, and set the best example possible. I want my kids, my boys, to always know. Mommy wants you all to know that I have always strived to be the best mom that I can. I'm not perfect by any means, but I have always strived to be the best mom that I can. And I certainly, always want to be in a position to where I can take care of you all. And they father makes 6 figures. And here I am unemployed. He only pays me $400 a month in child support. It's laughable. $400 a month in child support for a 14 and 10-year-old that's got 2 stomachs each. I mean, these kids can eat. They growing boys. It's to be expected. And this entire time I've been unemployed, and he's only done $400 a month. No extra help. And he actually has a 6-figure salary. This is being able to, I can give my opinion about family court. It seems like it favors the parent that makes the most money. And that's just based on my experience and from what I'm seeing with this nonsense with Hunter Biden. Because I can't fathom why, mathematically speaking, anyone would think that it's okay to make 6 figures knowing the other parent is unemployed. Beyond my control. This was a layoff due to a reduction in force. And I told the HR lady, I said, look, this is the worst thing ever. I've been laid off, 3 times in 3 years from 3 different jobs, and it's exhausting. I'm tired of going through this. I want job stability and security. I went to college and grad school, got a master's degree, so that I can have a stable career in life. And it seems like I'm being laid off more in my lifetime than I am actually employed. And it's just annoying. And to have that weaponized and used against me to make it seem as if I am not a fit parent, it's just unthinkable. When all I want to do is work and take care of my kids. And you have fathers that are in a position financially to do for these children, and they're either fighting it all the way, or that is all they're doing, and there's just nothing else behind that. They're not building a bond with these kids individually. I'm curious to know how you plan on spending time with all your kids one-on-one, Nick Cannon, on a consistent basis. You can financially afford them, but do you not realize mentally and emotionally what that could do to them? To see you in videos with 2 of your children, but not any of them in the same manner? That's ridiculous. Why should these kids have to grow up and learn that this is who their father is and then wonder why their father is not raising them and in their life and present in their life physically the way he is with his other kids. The same thing for Hunter Biden. Your daughter's gonna be like, why in the world would he not want to, spend time with me? How do you? That's why I want my kids to know consistently that I am busting my butt. I have not even done music reaction videos because, first of all, I haven't even been in the right headspace for it. Secondly, looking for a job is a job in and of itself. And I did not think it would take this long to get back to work. I've been unemployed and laid off since March 1st. My UI benefits are now exhausted. I'm only getting food stamps, and I'm trying to figure out how am I going to pay rent. Like, if I were in the position that Hunter Biden was in, where I could just get a good paying job and take care of my kids, you have no idea how happy and content I would be with that. I can't even apply for a government job because you got to lie like hell to be a veteran of the military and probably service connected to even be considered for these, well-paying government jobs with benefits. Like a regular civilian like me don't have a chance in hell. I would love to go work for the CDC or the EPA or NIH. I have a bachelor's of science in biology pre-med and my master's degree in business administration with a minor in healthcare management. So I would love to work, and stay in the healthcare sector. But that's not feasible when you just need to get a job and it's been 4 months. Especially when me being laid off and unemployed due to a rift is being used against me for a whole nother court hearing. But yet there's no help from the father to just say, I understand you do not want to be unemployed. How can I help you a little bit more? Because I make $104,000 a year. And because he works for the government, his salary is public information. That's that. But I don't understand why this whole admiration of these fathers that have the financial means and the ability to be more present in their children's lives, physically, in person. And they do everything but that. So, I that's my 2 cents on this. Because I think it needs to be stated. And we need to stop as a society allowing this type of nonsense to go on. Stop hammering the mama about her having been a stripper. Because it's still irrelevant. Because this child is here. Just because Hunter Biden wants to ignore does not mean that her presence and her existence goes away. She gonna be here. And she can't help who her daddy is. But he can do something about spending time with her and meeting her. Don't give her no pictures as a memoir if you refuse to actually lay eyes upon her. This baby is not scary. Ain't no wrong with her. This is the cutest little kid in the world. This is the cutest kid in the world, man. And they still have yet to acknowledge the child. And then he filed a case. He filed the case with the courts to try to reduce payments, but didn't think that he would have to actually show financial statements and proof of income. Are you not aware that that's how that goes in family court? That's in every state. What you thinking about? That's not just in Arkansas. That's most states in the United States of America. They make you show your financial income. They evaluate both parents' income and determine what child support should be paid with that. So you going to file something asking to reduce the money, the payment amounts, and then thinking you don't have to show proof of income is absurd. I don't even understand why you thought that was the situation. What did his attorney tell him? Did they not warn him? You filed this petition, You realize you're going to have to show all your bank statements or whatever, assets, proof of income. You can't keep paying with photographs and pictures. This is ridiculous. Why is that not being relayed? At least be honest with your client. Oh, child boo. I don't think I could ever let my sons go have kids and then not tell them that it's wrong to not claim the child. And then, how much are these pictures worth again? I'm curious to know how much are the pictures worth. That make no sense. I was hoping to see a picture of the baby, but y'all look at her pictures on it. She all over the place. She's so adorable, and this could literally be done so much better. And honestly, you can gain a lot more respect doing things the right way, no matter how embarrassing it is for you, Hunter Biden, because that's all this is about. It's your sheer embarrassment of having a kid outside of your marriage or relationship or whatever. Talking about it was due to some drugs. It's so dumb. Who cares? At this point, she's 4 years old. Get over it. Meet this child. Acknowledge her. Take her to visit the White House to meet her grandfather, her grandmother. Spend time with her. If you got to start off with supervised visitations, then that's just what you're going to have to dare and do. But at the end of the day, there's just no excuse for the son of the president to have a child that has been proven to be his by DNA and science, because we don't deny science, remember? That's still a thing. But then you sitting here and you're going out of your way to try to avoid not only not meeting her, but you want to reduce the financial support. Well, you can just get a job and then just pay that. Are you kidding? Ugh. If I could just literally get $1 million, I would buy a house. I will still get a job, because that's only going to go so far. I will put up money for my kids' education. I'll pay off some student loans. Pay off my car. At least be a little comfortable. Put my kids in private school. I would do all that. With just $1 million. This is ridiculous. And still get a job to continue to bring in revenue and income to comfortably care for my kids, so they don't have to grow up struggling, and they can see and know that mommy did everything she could to be the best mom that she could be to them. And yes, I will reshift the gravitational pull of this planet if something happened to my kids. I'm proud to say that. So if anything happened and y'all start feeling a sudden shift in gravity, you become 25 pounds lighter all of a sudden, y'all better be asking, what's going on with Lady Luck? Please, somebody, for the love of God, check on her children. We got a whole planetary thing happening. We have not seen the sun in 16 hours. It's the dark side of the moon, because somebody made Lady Luck Club upset and said or did something to her kids. Hell hath no fury like a mama scorned. So don't do that. All right, I'm done fussing. Deuces.